shocking new WHO report has revealed that more than 20% of Indian women aged between 15 and 49 face intimate partner violence as of 2023, and nearly 30% have suffered such abuse at least once in their lifetime. Globally, the picture is just as grim. 1 in 3 women, which is nearly 840 million women, have experienced physical or sexual violence by their partner, a number that has barely changed in over 2 decades. Released ahead of the International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women on 25th of November, the report warns that progress is far too slow and that the goal of ending violence by 2030 remains out of reach. The report also highlights that 8.4% of all women worldwide have faced sexual violence by non-partner. In India, that figure is around 4%. WHO chief says that violence against women remains one of the world's oldest and most pervasive injustices, emphasizing that no society is truly safe or fair if the women live in fear. Covering 168 countries, the WHO reviews and tracks data from 2000 to 2023, painting a stark picture of a global crisis that continues largely unchanged. All right, the latest shocking data coming by the way of a WHO report reveals that more than 20% Indian women aged between 15 to 49 years face intimate partner violence and have been facing such violence for many, many decades now, which is nearly 30% when compared globally. The picture is grim. Nearly 840 million women across the globe have experienced physical or sexual violence by their partner. The number has not changed in the last 2 decades. The data released by WHO ahead of the International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women on 25th of November paints a picture which is grim. It warns that the progress as far as eliminating violence against women is concerned is too slow, and the goal of ending violence by 2030 is out of reach. Joining us on the show is Dr. Charu Valikhanna, who's an author and former member of NCW. Also with us is Rekha Agrawal, advocate for Supreme Court, as well as Professor Rajalakshmi, sociologist from Delhi University, and Dr. Nisha, who's a public policy analyst, will also be joining us very soon. Dr. Charu, I want to come to you first, ma'am. As somebody who's been a member of NCW, perhaps you can paint a picture for us on how situation has changed at all on ground, in your experience, because for the last 2 decades now, we've been hearing that the data remains largely unchanged.
See, the data is come out now on an international forum. That's why we're all discussing it. Otherwise, one is very much aware that women continue to face violence, especially in India. And even the NCW got alarming increase in complaints during COVID, because that's when the migrant labor had gone back, and the husbands were at home, the partners were at home, and the violence has increased because the woman had no other recourse. She could not speak to anyone. She couldn't do anything. So, and during COVID, a time when people should have been happy, there was so much fear that we don't know how long life will continue, and life was so fragile. That was a time that you should have spent intimate moments with affection and love, and that was the time when the violence had increased tremendously, and the number of complaints the NCW had received are more. So I think it's not surprising. And as far as what the data which is coming to the fore is that 1 in every 5 women have experienced intimate partner violence, and I think 4% you said non-partner violence. Now I would find that 4% very alarming, because that means that 4 out of every 100 children or women have been sexually abused by persons who are not their partners. Now, who are those persons? Their neighbors. So sexual abuse is also rampant. They could be within the family. One likes to think that the family is a safe place, but the family is a very dangerous place from what this data is showing.
All right, family is a very dangerous place. Rekha Agrawal, what do the latest WHO statistics tell us as far as the current policies and their failure to prevent violence is concerned? We have very strict measures in court as far as non-partner violence is concerned. But when it comes to partner violence, we know for a fact that not enough checks and balances are in place.
I think that as far as checks and balances are concerned, our laws are very strong. It is just that the proper implementation of the laws is not being done. There is no dearth of laws in our country to protect women, to protect children, both of whom, for whom the Constitution also mandates special provisions to be made. In fact, the Constitution warrants positive discrimination to check that the welfare of children and women is protected, and that is why so many laws are there, whether as far as even for civil laws are concerned, or whether it is criminal laws are concerned. There are enough laws and sections earlier in the Indian Penal Code and now in the DNSS to protect a women from the kind of violence